Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with What's a Rolfie, Unky, Fireman 1231, JDB Cubed, and Fireman Freddy. Let's get to the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cool Fireman Podcast, episode 6. Here we are. You made it. Thanks for coming back. Today, we're going to follow up with our rookie tip that we left you with in episode 5, and that is going to be focusing on the response area in which you cover, being familiar with it, and knowing really where you're going. It's pretty important. Now, for me, I've worked for two smaller municipality fire departments, one being like 5.3 miles and one being 4.7. And both departments, when you get hired on, it's very important early on. My first department, you got a paper map and you would turn in a map and you'd make sure that you knew where the streets were, what the address breaks were, or what have you, so that when a call came out, you knew which way you're going, the fastest route, using the fire routes, and realistically what station it is, whether it's station 1 or station 2, based on the address breaks. Second department that I'm at now, very similar. Theirs is kind of, you got 6 weeks to get yourself going and know where you're at. Both departments have technology that we utilize. And in this day and age, I think technology is a great asset. However, technology is only as good to you as reliable as it is. So, internet goes down, you don't get service, dispatch goes down, what have you. If you're waiting to see what route to take to get to the call, to get to a fire, to get to a CPR, because you need to see it on your phone, then you're kind of behind the 8 ball. So knowing where you're going and then using that as a tool to kind of guide you there, I think is a better strategy than the call coming in and going, yeah, hold on, we'll leave in a second. Okay, now I got the route. So for me, it's very important, being a newer guy on a department, to kind of prove to the guys who've been there for a while that I take it seriously, that I've learned the district and I know where I'm going, so that when the call comes out, especially for us, we have a watch bed that after 10 o'clock, there's somebody who dispatches, dispatch will call us, they'll tell us we have a call, and then we dispatch the trucks from there. So that call comes in at 2 a.m, you're, what? 123 Main Street. You're like, engine 2, rescue 2. And I tell you what, If you call out the wrong trucks at 2 a.m, you're going to know about it at 7:30 in the morning when you get up.
That's gnarly.
Wow. That's insane. I can't imagine.
I've never heard anything like that.
No.
So our dispatch
actually 1985.
Our dispatch actually gets recommendations about what trucks should be assigned, but for whatever reason, they leave it to us, which is most of the times like one of the junior guys, to assign the truck to the call.
That sounds like disaster.
So you're assigning another house calls, or it's just your district?
In-house.
No. So in my city that I work in currently, we have 2 stations.
Okay.
And there's 2 streets in the city that kind of define the response areas. Okay. And should an address come in that's in the other station's response area, then for us, it's usually the lowest guy on the ladder. Unless there's an officer, if there's not an officer on the ladder, then it's the right seat who sleeps in the watch bed. And he will assign trucks. He or she will assign trucks. So if it's the other station, they pick up the radio, fire copies, that's going to be engine 2, rescue 2, or fire copies, that's going to be squad 1, rescue 1, depending on where the address is, and your ability at 2 a.m. to turn your brain on.
How do you know if the other house is even available or if they're out on the call already?
Because the radio traffic, you can hear.
Oh my God. And you're listening to that all night?
Yeah. Do you guys do that all day long during the shift or just at night?
Yes. Nope. All day long.
Oh my God. That is bizarre.
I want to hear more. So this is like a full episode worth.
Yeah, this is a whole episode.
We're kind of there, and we can probably come back to this, but right now, like during the day, the officer usually jumps onto the assignment. However, anybody can assign it. So for us, our dispatch notifies us with the heart saver tones.
Yeah.
So and so fire. We have a rescue call at 123 Main Street for a difficulty in breathing. We key up the radio, whether it's the portable or one of the base radios. Fire copies. That's going to be Squad 1, Rescue 1. And if for some reason another call comes in Station 1's district, comes in, fire copies, Engine 2, Rescue 2. And that's how we kind of go through. And then we use Bryx, BRYX, as our as a additional software that comes through on our phones and tablets in the trucks and everything, and it tells you it'll give you your times, address, it'll route it for you, and that way you can have some of that additional information. But
that sounds like a real good reason to not work at that fire station.
I'll be honest with you, it's all I know. Both departments that I've worked for kind of do it this way. My first department, we actually had 4 different communities on our dispatch channel. It was a centralized dispatch. So us being the medium busy department, and then we had 3 other ones, 2 of them which were more busy than us, and one of them that was around the same. We heard traffic all night long, and I'll be honest with you, it gets a little scary because you listen for the tones to go off, and then you know that it's your call. But if you're sleeping pretty heavy, if you've been run hard all day and you sleep, there's been guys who miss the tones, and you walk by your partner's bed and you give it the ever so gently kick, right? I mean, we wouldn't ever donkey kick somebody's bed as you're walking by it, right? No, yeah, we do.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
and you kind of just like, hey man, that's us. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm positive. So, luckily my new department, we only have us on the dispatch, so we don't have to listen to 4 other communities' radio traffic. It's just our traffic. And luckily we run 2,900 calls a year. So there's some nights where we're busy. Like actually this morning I just got off a shift. We had 3 calls after midnight, so that was a rough night. There's some nights that we'll have 1 call. There's some nights we might have none. It's hit or miss. So Rolfie, what about you? What do you guys utilize as far as knowing your district? Do you have to cover every square inch from one station? Do you guys have to know it? What do you guys do?
So I love this topic. This is a great topic because our department in particular is very prideful in knowing every single street in town, but it's almost impossible. It's very difficult. And we'll get together sometimes for family brunch, and it always comes up. It doesn't always come up, but there's been times where it comes up and we, it's like, well, hey, where's this street? Hey, give me this street. One of our chiefs loves to say, hey, give me a street you think I don't know where it is in town. And so it's a very we're very proud to know our town. And our town is, we have 4 stations. And we're 3 staffed, so we have 3 people on each engines. If everybody knows, whoever
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And so we have the engineer, captain, firefighter that sits backwards, per se. But 4 stations, 9 square miles. We have about 8 miles of beach that we cover, and we have a population of about 24,000. That booms to about 100,000 during the day in the summer, just because of tourists.
That's why you guys carry 4 stations, I'd imagine, right?
That is a big reason. Another big reason is our topography. Our station 3 is at 1,000 feet. So
Elevation.
right. And so, our topography, we're in kind of like an intermix. We have a ton of vegetation with, and then houses, just interlaid in between vegetation. And so we have a huge wildland threat. And so that's another reason.
Yeah.
But it just takes us a while to get to calls. And so between our 4 stations, we work a lot of overtime at different stations. So you got to know where you're going from any, station. But one thing that I tell rookies or that are first starting with us, that what was told to me when I first came on is, dude, don't just lick windows in the back seat. You're going to be an engineer someday. And if you start now and actually paying attention where we're driving to calls, where we go to PT, how the engineers drive to get to the store, dude, it makes the crew's life so much easier. And now that I'm an engineer, it's like, I mean, it totally makes sense. And, it's so important that I'll tell, a new guy a couple times, like, dude, you're in the back seat. If you don't know the street, look it up on your phone. We have these devices, use it to your advantage. Fred, you were talking about paper maps, and, we still carry paper maps, district maps, we call them. And then also the Thomas Brothers in our engine, just in case, like you said, we're only as strong as our equipment is. And if it goes down, then we got to pull out paper maps and be able to know where the heck we're going. But I got to tell you, a good majority of our captains and our engineers, know 90% of the streets. And the nice thing is that, we have a unified dispatch between PD and fire. And so they sit in their little room and they'll get a 911 call. And then they'll dispatch us out. And, that's how ours works. It goes to our MDC, we hit en route and we go. But I don't know really where I was going with that, but anyways, that, we're just, if we're going to our first in, we're pretty good at knowing where we're going, especially because they give us a cross street.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know the main street, they're going to give you a pretty big cross street and you're like, okay, I know that's the north end of town, whatever it is. So anyways,
I think that really is a underutilized trick, maybe a tactic. When I started on this new department, one of the main things that they do is you have to drive for 10 hours on a vehicle before you can drive code in it, which to me, I laughed because I was on my previous department for 11 years driving code. And I came to this new department. And they're like, hey, switch seats with me. You can't drive code yet.
Right.
You got it, bud.
Yeah.
But I would often ask when I was starting out, they'd be like, hey, let's go out and do some driving drill. I said, that's cool. Can I drive for an hour just to get my feet wet? I said, and then I would really love to just sit in the right seat and watch routes that you take, because somebody who's been there 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15 years have developed shortcuts or different ways to get to calls, like, oh, don't take Maple Street because it's super thin and traffic bogs up, or, cut down this street, cut down that street. And learning those little shortcuts and tricks is such a easy way to garner favor, I guess, with guys in your department, and show them that you're not just there for a paycheck, that you're actually you take pride in learning the district and knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
Unky, yours maybe it's a little different being on a base, but I imagine that some of your dispatch may end up calling out certain buildings. So I'm sure that's probably pretty important for you to know what building is where, possibly.
Yeah. In the federal government, they mark the buildings. There's a big placard, usually with some numbers and some letters. At my base, we're roughly about 3 square miles. We have a huge inlet in the middle, and we have one main road that goes from the west side of the base to the other side of base. And between the stations, it's 2 miles. We have 2 stations. They'll punch it out sometimes with an address, which is new to us. We just got a whole new dispatching system and center. So majority of the East Coast is dispatched out of Norfolk, Virginia. And so they'll call out addresses, which blows our minds. But they call the building numbers, and they usually are well grouped together. One base will have a letter in front of it. So let's say like A88. So you know in the map where the A section is. So it kind of cuts it down a little bit, and you just kind of find the 88. On my base, we're nothing but numbers. And so it says like the, I don't know, 3803. You know where the 3800 block is on the bases.
So there is some type of reasoning to it.
Yes, but the buildings right beside it will be like, it'd be 3801, then it'll be 3896, 3832, but still the 3800 block area. And my base, it's very simple. On the far east, the vertical roads are alphabet. So it starts at A at one side and works over. And from the south side to the north is 1 through 11.
Numeric.
Yeah, oh, nice.
They have renamed a lot of other roads, but usually when they get into they're usually named after like battles and stuff like that. That's on my side of the base, gotcha. Which is a lot smaller. But
Bunker Hill Road.
Yeah. There's let's see, I took numbers, building numbers, they're grouped not in order. We don't have computers at all. We run with the cities for mutual aid. One city has offered us computers, but because being on a federal installation, there was always some kind of red tape having computers. There's a certain way you have to sign in, this, that, and other thing. So we kind of steer clear of computers. So we'll do very easy. It's easy for us to make a little map, white out the names, and give it out to guys that's starting to learn how to drive. You know, go study the map and get a good idea. We always encourage, get the fire truck or the ambulance in the ballpark. And, if it's got to be fine tuned, the officer or senior person yell at you, stop. It's right here on the left or right. When we're out in city, we used to have run cards. Everybody's seen run cards. The city gave us a set of run cards that my father used in the 80s and 90s, and that's where they stopped being updated. And we used that for a little bit. Then now it's just GPS when we get out in the city. We just type it in and hand it over to the officer.
And realistically, with this being said, when I was one of the senior guys on my first department, I don't want you to fail so much that we are late to a call, that we take 20 minutes to get to a call. For me, I would like for you to know the general direction. Like if we're at the station and an address comes out, if you were to tell me we have to head northwest, I'll be honest with you, that's probably good enough for me. And I'm going to look at bricks or Google Maps and be like, hey man, hang a left on 23rd and then, turn on Poplar Street or what have you. And that way, then fine tuning right there.
I got a story.
Yeah.
I just want to share. It was many, many moons ago. We were responding out to a call, and it was with the city, and our driver and the captain, both type A personalities. So they were clashing about where to go, which way to turn. The captain won the battle. Excuse me. The driver was told to pull over and turn your lights off because here comes the city. Turn your lights off and sit right here until they pass us. So I was on a call many moons ago where we had to hide from the first due city engine because the captain and the driver were arguing about which route to take.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Gosh.
Dude, I gotta tell you, that is so fun to watch. Especially like as a new firefighter, I had this very eccentric engineer and this very type A my way or the highway captain. And it was hilarious, dude. One time we get in the engine and we're going from our district in all the way in the south end of town, all the way to the north end. And this captain he loved to use the siren. He pushed the siren because he felt it was safer for him to do the siren at his foot with the cue, and the engineer would just drive, right? And everybody, some people had different feelings about it, but whatever, it is what it is. Well,
That's a whole show.
And the growler got pinned. Ring. And so the engineer sitting over there going, quit that, stop that. And he's looking at him, and the captain's like, I'm not pushing anything. And it got stuck, and they're just yelling at each other. And I'm on probation just back there, just dying laughing. I mean, it was hilarious. Dude,
our newer apparatuses don't even have a cue on the driver's side. All they have is an air horn.
Yeah.
And it's with the foot. We don't have a rope or a cable, whatever.
Yeah. So Doug, with the three of us kind of having smaller districts, ideally it lends itself to us learning our areas relatively easier than maybe the department that you work for, which has a significantly larger response area. So how does your department handle knowing your area and working out of different stations?
You guys are cute with your little 5 square miles. That's so fun. Freddie said I run 3,000 calls a year. We do that in about 3 weeks, man. My department services 437 square miles. Our county's humongous.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's still undeveloped. So we have 21 full-time stations that all have at least 3 men or women per fire apparatus and 2 per ambulance. Every now and then again, my station at night, if we don't have to send our 4th out, we'll have a 4th on the engine. We've got a few stations that run 4, but it's few and far between now. But one of the first things that and my current rookies, we're still working on it with him, is we have a first due map of some of the main streets that we have. It's blank. We give it to him and say, hey, identify these roads. As a guy who's trained and authorized to ride the right seat, the front seat, as we call it, you guys call it right, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, the man in charge. Mm-hmm. When I was a rookie and when I first got cut loose to drive, I felt that it was very important for me because I knew how chaotic the right seat was if we were going to a high severity call, be it a fire, trapped, CPR, whatever. But I knew how important it was for that individual to locate certain things on the MDC, be it a hydrant, a cross street, whatever they're looking for. If I knew, hey, man, I can get you in the general area, that gives him or her 60 seconds, maybe even 90 seconds to do what they need to do to find stuff on the MDC without having to worry about telling me where to go. Mm-hmm. And when I started riding the seat, that is the biggest thing that I want out of my driver or engineer, as you guys call them in your parts of the country, is get me out of the station and a mile down the road, not even a mile's a long time, but get me started where I don't have to tell you where to go, where I can, especially if it's a fire, let me find a hydrant. Let me find if I need to come in from the backside to catch a different hydrant, whatever. Give me a little time to work out those logistics, and knowing where to go is humongous in that. Our districts, like I said, we have 21 stations, are obviously smaller because we have 437 square miles, but a lot of them, my station is in a, is in a very urban area with one of our main roads, right, is our main, or a thoroughfare right through my district. It's Midlothian Turnpike. And I expect you very quickly out of the gate to know, do I need to go right or left on Midlothian? Am I going east or west? Know which numbers go which direction, whether you're going up in numbers or down in numbers, and know if the odds or evens are on which side of the road. That's simple stuff that you need to know day one. I'm not asking you to reinvent the wheel or do math, but know if you got to go up in numbers or down in numbers. Am I going towards the city? All right. Well, if so, then I'm going down in number. If I'm going west, I'm going up in number. What's odd and even? Which side of the street? So you can already process, all right, if I'm going to, 9,000 Midlothian, all right, well, I know which way I got to go, and I know which side of the road it's on. That buys me so much time immediately. Mm-hmm. My rookie station, hell, I'm going on 9 years now. And when calls get dispatched in my rookie station's district, I still say, hey, you got to go down so-and-so and turn so-and-so, because I wanted to know every one of them. And I still do 9 years later. I haven't forgotten them.
Yeah.
And I don't work as much overtime as I used to. I try not to work any overtime at all, honestly. But a lot of guys do, and they're spread out throughout the county. And when I was younger, either working traded shifts or when I was working a lot of overtime because I didn't have my salary was much less than as a rookie and a 2-year guy, whatever. I would bounce around the county because I wanted to learn the county. And before I could work overtime, we have our delivery truck goes around every week, and it goes 3 days a week, and it splits the county up by 6 stations a day or whatever. I did that because I couldn't work overtime yet, so I drove the delivery truck going to each station and learning the county that way myself. Now it was two for there. Obviously I earned extra money, and I really learned the county because I'm not from this county. I was born down in the southern part of the state. I didn't know anything about Chesterfield other than that's where the mall is. And I go through it to get to Short Pump, which is in Richmond. All right. So it was great for me to learn the county that way. I got to meet guys at the stations as a new guy, introduce myself. I put my face out there. I learned the county. I learned where the stations were. I learned the station codes. And then you just start learning the main thoroughfares. And every district has at least one. When you come out of station, you got to go right or left. Sometimes you go straight, what have you, but whatever. That's, again, day one, you've got to know those things. And then you start progressing into, like Matt was saying, when you're in the back seat, dude, there's no reason why you're not looking on your phone, following where we're going. All right, we're turning on Turner Road, and then I'm going to go down Providence and whatever. Like, that's simple stuff that you need to be taking the initiative as a new guy to do on your own.
Yeah. I wholeheartily agree. Do you guys we have like 4 foot by 6 foot district maps at each of our stations with our first in. So, especially as an engineer, obviously as a firefighter, I always preach that you do it just like you said, Doug. If you don't know where the street is, look it up. But for an engineer, I mean, it's nice to just, jump out of whatever you're doing, look up at that map, get a good sense of where you're going, left, right, up, down. We have like a saying, northeast even. So anything on the northeast side of the street is an even number as far as address goes. So that makes it nice and easy for us. But yeah, that map is killer, because, over time, the more you do it, the more you drive, obviously you're going to start learning your district better.
Yeah. I'm at a dual house. We've got a ladder and an engine, obviously. So we have 2 separate maps because the trucks district is bigger because we only had up until recently 5 ladder trucks to service the whole county. That map has changed. We put a new one up, but that district obviously is much bigger because it has to cover 1/6 of the county or, whatever, however it breaks down. Yeah. So their map is different than ours. But yes, we have one on either side as you go out to the bay from the living quarters where it tells you that. Mm-hmm. What was I going to talk about? I forgot. Brain farted. I'm old. I need some ginkgo biloba.
With that being said, my department that I work for right now, we take a lot of pride in the fact that our average response time is under 4 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Anywhere that we go. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of that comes from a little bit of expeditious movements when the call comes, tones drop, whether it's your call or not, because obviously off the rip, you don't know, but you hear the tones, everybody's up, everybody's putting on their boots, putting on their sweatshirts, moving towards the door. You hear the address, nope, not us. And then you kind of stand down or whatever. But the other part of it is knowing where you're going. Because if you are just driving in circles or you've got to make 4 lefts now because you turn the wrong way, you're not doing your patients, you're not doing the public any favors by showing up late to a CPR or showing up late to a house fire. Fire doubles every 30 seconds. And, the AHA is saying like at 3 minutes, at 3 minutes of downtime without CPR, somebody's survival rate is 70% versus, if CPR happens within 1 minute, it's 90%, whatever. It's a trend. So getting on scene and doing that it's so important. It's so important. And so that is why I believe that this was a really important topic for us to, hopefully there are rookies out there who are, maybe on the job. They're looking to get on the job. They're listening to this. They're like, all right, I'm going to take this seriously. And I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that there's dudes out there that maybe got 15, 20 years who maybe they're mailing it in and they don't know their district as well as they should. And hopefully we're going to inspire some guys to be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm kind of mailing it in. Maybe I ought to put a little bit more effort into this, because when it comes down to it, we are professionals. We are serious. This is a career. This is something that needs to be taken seriously, because when the public calls us, they're expecting us to show up.
They expect perfection.
They're expecting us to be perfect.
If it's your grandma's house, you want to know how to get there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
If I call 911, I'm hoping that the people in my city get here in 1 second. Is that realistic? Absolutely not.
No.
But it's the worst day of my life, and I'm hoping that the people that show up are on their game and they know where they're going.
For sure.
Awesome. So I think we could have talked about this for 2 hours, and that's okay, because hopefully what this does is it spurs a little bit of conversation. We'd love to hear everybody's comments on this. Find us, make a comment. First off, before we do our normal recipe for the day, I wanted to say thank you to our first customer.
We have a customer?
We have a customer. They bought some stickers, if
Tell
I'm
me,
correct, Unky, right? They bought some stickers.
Sweet.
That is a Mr. Josh Bandy. You get a shout out on the podcast for supporting us.
Give
We
him a gold
appreciate
star
you.
too.
Gold star. Hot darn. You are the cool fireman, Josh.
That's awesome.
So
These are the stickers.
oh, look at that.
Shoot.
So,
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can't see that, but if you head over to the
Spotify.
YouTube, you absolutely can see it.
Hey, and also, in addition to that, looking at it, you guys give us some recommendations and some suggestions of what we should name our dog.
Yeah.
Our logo, our dog logo. Give us
I
some
like
suggestions.
that.
What do you think we should name it?
Yeah. We've got our little dog logo.
I think we should call him Axe.
We're gonna have probably some shirts and some hats and stuff in the future, I'm sure. But yeah, we should.
Hey guys,
Axe is a good name.
Also, real quick, a lot of people that listen to our podcast are coming from people that aren't subscribed. So if you could just hit subscribe for us, it helps.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Smash that subscribe button.
Because we're not trying to make any money here. I promise you that.
No,
We're not.
But we'd like to reach a bigger audience, and that enables us to do that.
Yeah,
we
more
do have
subscribers.
we do have big big plans. We have big plans, and we'll let you know what those plans are when we're able to maybe put them into motion. But right now, a lot of it is based on how much we are listened to, how much we're seeing, what our traffic is. A lot of that is based on that. So
yeah,
we want to do some stuff for you guys. We want to do some stuff out there for people that need us.
Yeah.
If you got recommendations for show topics or anything you want us to talk about, we'll be glad to do it. I asked one of our captains who messaged me on Instagram the other day what he'd like to hear. So when we cover that, I'll shout him out, Jason. I'll let you know when that comes. It'll be probably episode 9. We can start that maybe.
If you make a suggestion, just know it might not be for a few shows, because we try to do 3 to 4 shows on the same day. And so if we start to get topics filtered in through comments or whatever, it might be, probably, it could be like 3 or 4 shows. I think on our first block, we got a topic about mental health awareness and stuff. And I'm doing that one, but for today. So it's been a while. So I hope that person that posted that comment about mental health hasn't lost interest. So
yeah, we're recording 3 or 4 at a time so we can keep some in the bank in case some of us can't make the podcast, like Nick's not here right now.
As you can see, getting 5 firefighter schedules to line up is similar to lining up the planets.
Yeah, we hope he can join us here in a minute.
And plus, it gives us a time to research the topic and discuss amongst ourselves of, who's going to be the main talker of that episode.
Yeah. All right.
So you're going to be listening to this episode after the Super Bowl is done. So congratulations on the Super Bowl win.
The Eagles.
San Francisco 49ers.
All right.
Hey.
Bang, bang.
All right. So recipe for today is one of my favorite things that I make. It is it's requested at home, requested at the firehouse. It's my glazed meatloaf. Some people hear the word meatloaf, they turn their nose up. I'm gonna tell you what, I love it. My kids love it. And if you guys have kids are picky eaters, and anytime we make it, there's no leftovers. So check over on our website. We've got all the recipes that we talk about on this podcast up there. You can see the recipes, see the directions, make them, tag us somewhere if you do make it. We love to see people interacting with us. With that, we are going to our rookie tip.
It's me.
Douglas.
Check it out, guys.
If you are turning your nose to meatloaf, shame on you.
Shame on you. Meatloaf
For
is staple.
shame.
Staple. So we're going to talk about cleanliness and cancer and contaminants and carcinogens and all of that crap. So new guys, I know my department has taken it extremely seriously in the recent history. We've got a whole decon policy now, and it covers everything from forced air decon when you come out of a building, standing in front of a fan for a few seconds, turning around, flapping your ear flaps, all that, trying to blow off as much carcinogen as you can. And then we, depending on your involvement, you could get a gross decon. I mean, we talked about recently about taking your gear off and putting it in a bag, or maybe we were texting about that. I don't remember. If not, we'll talk about it next week. But new guys, it's not cool to have your gear all nasty and trashy. All right. I know you might think you're salty and you look good and whatever. Some of that stuff's not going to wash off over time, especially off your helmet. It is what it is. But do the best you can to wash your stuff, to wash yourself, and to get that crap off of you. Because I'm going to give you some numbers next week, or in our next episode, rather, which will be next week, that are probably going to blow your mind. Not just for firemen, but for the general public. Firefighters, I shouldn't say firemen. That are probably going to blow your mind as far as cancer statistics and how much more likely we are to get certain cancers. All right. So that being said, y'all enjoy the Super Bowl. Freddie said we're going to be, actually, that's coming on today. It's Sunday morning right now. I got to cook a bunch of crap here in a little while. So we will see you guys next week. Thank y'all.
See ya.